All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Career Spotlight webinar series. I am Brianna Scott with the Flint Genesee Education and Talent Team. This series is all about helping you explore different career paths, learning from professionals in the field, and discovering what it really takes to get there. Each session gives you a chance to hear real stories and get inspired about your future. So sit back, take notes. This is your time to explore what is possible. So today we are very excited to be joined by Zach, who works as a business agent at UA Local 370. Thank you so much, Zach, for being here today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So let's go and get it started. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your job, and your industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the business agent of the plumbers and pipe fitters. So a little bit about my job is I do dispatching for our contractors. They'll call and ask for manpower, and we'll supply them with that, as well as handle any member issues that they might have. I'm also a trustee on our pension plan and health insurance. So a multitude of hats are worn by my position, but that's a little bit about what I cover.
Thank you. So when we talk about the industry of trade, so of course everyone knows what a plumber is, but do you mind explaining a little bit about what a pipe fitter is in that job title?
Yeah, absolutely. A pipe fitter is somebody that will um, manipulate the pipes, the fittings for a welder or connect those together for different kind of piping systems. A lot of stuff might see. I apologize. You might not see because it's all covered up. Everything we do gets covered up by ceiling tiles or drywall, masonry. But heating lines in schools, you see the registers on the walls, but the piping is buried, and that's a lot of what a pipe fitter will do. The process piping for heating, or the auto manufacturers in Flint. There's a lot of water and air and gas lines and things of that nature that get worked around those buildings for different processes, and that's what a pipe fitter will do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, with that being said, so what inspired you to pursue this industry as a career?
So my I have had family in the industry. I had my dad and my grandfather and a few uncles that worked for a non-union plumbing company. So I kind of got my feet wet, so to speak, early on as a kid during summers off and experienced that. And my dad did it. Was kind of interesting to me. So as I grew older, and then I got opportunities to work in the summers while I had my summer breaks off in high school. And I, at that point in time, kind of didn't know what I would want to go to college for. It was a big push in the nursing industry when I graduated high school, and I didn't really feel like that was for me. So in turn, I decided to take a shot at this. And my dad had joined UA Local 370 in 2000. So that being said, I was able to apply here right out of high school and was fortunate enough to get accepted into this apprenticeship program. I viewed it as a long-term career that paid well. I could take care of myself. I could take care of my family members, and stay in this community.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I know a lot of students are going through that same thing where maybe not fitting for college, but exploring different options. So thank you for sharing that. So with your journey, I know you talked a little bit about, in high school and your dad was in that industry. So what was your exact journey from high school to your position where you are currently?
Like I said, I applied for the apprenticeship, and the economy was pretty rough in 2008 when I applied, but I was accepted. I began my journey in 2009, May, I believe, and I went through the 5-year apprenticeship program, culminating in me. 2013, I believe, was the year that I got my journeyman plumber's license with the state of Michigan. Um, Finished the apprenticeship, and um, maybe a year or two after that, the apprenticeship coordinator, training coordinator for our union hall, approached me about teaching night classes. So from there, he enrolled me, and I started taking classes, professional classes, and applied and technical classes at Washtenaw Community College. And I believe from 2017 to 2021, I took classes there. Um, I was the OSHA instructor and crane and signaling instructor for some night classes that we have at our hall. From there, during that period, I actually was recruited for a superintendent position at a contractor. Got involved in the estimating department there, and once I got my master plumber license, and that company utilized my license while I was employed there, doing the estimating. And in 2022, I was approached for taking this position, in which I have maintained since.
Thank you. It seems like you've been in this industry for quite some time, moving in different careers. So, what does a typical day look like for someone in this career path?
Yeah. So, as an apprentice, you're going to go to the job site, show up 15 minutes early, um, and you're going to have a journeyman or a foreman pretty much, the layout for you what to do, right? Give you a little task and the material to complete a task, or you might work alongside them. And then one day every 2 weeks, you're going to go to apprenticeship class, which is a paid day school here at our training facility. And for that 8 hour day, 7 to 3:30, you'll be in class doing some hands-on projects, also learning some of the code or book work. And then, once you're finished with the apprenticeship as a journeyman, it's gonna be kind of similar without the class day school, but it'll follow that similar program of showing up to work early and plumbing or pipe fitting, depending on the project that your contractor is working on. And that can even stem out to running projects, being the lead foreman, where you're directing everybody on the project and job meetings and making all those pieces go around, fixing all the problems for everybody. So it's can be cold in the winter, can be hot in the summer, depending on what kind of project you're on, if it's climate controlled yet or not. But it's very it's always been something that's been very positive for me. I always like to see progress, be able to see something that you've built with your hands and accomplish. When you start with a bare piece of land and you're building a school or a hospital or a clinic, and then a couple years down the road, you get to see this full building that's operational, and you had a part in that is rewarding.
I agree. That's amazing. And it just seems I can see the joy in your eyes when you're talking about the start to finish. So, speaking of those positive highlights, what is something that you enjoyed the most about this industry?
I would say, definitely seeing a building or facility get put together. When you get to start a task and you get to see it turn from nothing into something, that's always been one of the most rewarding things, as well as teaching the new generation. Once you finish the apprenticeship, you end up with apprentices, coming up the pipeline, just like I myself did. So like to take the good parts of the way I was taught and try to pass that along and coach them into being the best journeyman construction worker that they could possibly be.
Thank you. And I think one good point that you did mention, as students are pursuing their apprenticeship, they're actually getting paid as they're learning and as they're growing. So contrary to traditional college where you don't get paid to do that, you're learning and you're earning income through that process, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, no debt, no college debt. It's amazing.
Thank you. So when we talk about the industry, what are some challenges that you face?
Yeah, gosh. Well, there's been, personally, I think a lot of the challenges people are faced is, technology issues. Um, Technology issues, now today's day and age, it's a lot of, material shortages, materials being on back order. Some of the equipment that we need, the time to get that set equipment might be 40 weeks down the road.
Mhm.
Some of those things are challenges that you face, and so those are the things that you work through as somebody running a project, trying to facilitate getting as much done as you can based around, uh,
Mhm.
you know, something that's out of your control. Um, but for some of the apprentices standpoint, I think a lot of it is, just the understanding of not being on your phone all day can be a challenge. That's some of the feedback that I've been getting is, some of the younger men and women coming into it seem to be really attached to their cellular devices, which is can be an issue.
Yes, it's pretty prevalent with the current workforce. And that's actually a pretty good transition to my next question because for those students who want to follow in the footsteps of a pipe fitter, plumber, what are the most what are those top skills and qualities most important for those careers?
Yeah, I think the best qualities. I wish I had it in front of me, but there was an article that I read about the 10 best qualities somebody can have, and I think the big ticket items really are going to be somebody that's reliable, right? You show up on time and you show up every day. But aside from that, is somebody that's coachable, that
Mhm.
doesn't have the attitude that they know everything, that wants to learn, is willing to learn, asks questions, understanding that, none of us know every answer, but, if you're willing to learn and you're willing to be coachable, and everybody that you work with is going to be willing to help you through what you don't know.
Right. Good. Thank you so much. So what skills did you possess early on as a high school student that reflects more on this career that you endeavored on?
I was always very hands-on.
Mhm.
From as a kid, I was interested in, like, wasn't like board games. It was building stuff.
Mhm.
I wish I could remember the stuff, not Legos, but along those lines, things that you would build. In high school, I participated in auto shop. But it was, the hands-on, the enjoyment of building things, and being creative, and that's kind of what this trade will give you.
Thank you. So those students out there who are listening, so hands-on skills, liking to do things with your hands, building, those are all good, things to think about if you're interested in these careers. So I know before you mentioned how you attained your master license. So what type of education, training, or certification can help someone get started?
Yeah, a lot of the people that come in through the door have zero experience in the trade, and that's completely fine, right? If you possess those qualities, like we spoke about earlier, where you have the willingness to learn and put forth that effort, that's great. One of the big things that is important in our industry specifically is going to be your basic math skills, right? Being able to read a tape measure, understanding fractions. Those things are some of the most crucial beginning steps for our trade. Being that
Mhm.
everything has a measurement of some sort to it. When you're talking about fitting pipes or plumbing, so those are definitely some of the skill sets that I would recommend that people kind of sharpen up, or um, try to get better at.
Thank you. Thank you. So, for those students, are there any recommended classes, clubs, or even part time jobs you would recommend for those students who are interested in plumbing and pipe fitting?
I wish I had a recommendation for classes, or clubs, but part-time jobs, anything in the industry where you can kind of get to see if this is something that really interests you. I was I spoke about, I was blessed enough to be able to have a hands-on um, touch point on it when I was at a younger age. So I knew that was what I liked. I liked to do this
Mhm.
trade. But if you could get a truck driver position at a company, or a helper
Mhm.
position, some sort of summer job where you can actually see what this industry or any industry has to offer, to know when you're making that choice that it's something that you are interested in, would be helpful.
Good, thank you. So now let's take a zoom out to get the bigger picture. So, what is something interesting happening in your industry right now?
I think that some of the interesting things. I mean, if we can kind of roll back a little bit, one of the things I find interesting is the schools. More of the schools are starting to um, I don't know if push the trades is the right way to say it, but for lack of a better term, they're starting to um, show students that this is an alternative avenue to college if college isn't for you.
Mhm.
When I was in high school, that was something that was kind of shunned upon me by um, at least one teacher.
Mhm.
Kind of, why would you want to go into this profession? Why would you want to go into this trade? Like it was looked down upon. But it is a well-paying job that supports my family quite well. And I think that that's a fantastic thing in this industry as a whole, that it's given as a viable option to students as they come through high school, and understanding that the trades are a great way to make a living if you're not somebody that knows they want to go to school or put themselves into debt. So I think that's an interesting thing. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I had that was I'd wanted to speak about. The other thing I wanted to speak about was the technology advancements in the industry and in the
Mhm.
safety. I think that those are two things that have shifted dramatically in the last decade. When you talk about job site safety and your the dust, the fall protection, all these things that are very taken very seriously. That is a fantastic thing that is always kind of progressing, but I've noticed a substantial difference in some of those things since I've started. Uh,
Mhm.
and the other thing is the cost associated with some of these projects. We know the cost of doing business and the cost of everyday items is going up. We used to get excited about $1 million projects, and now all these projects are starting with a B instead. It's $1 billion projects. And so that's another interesting thing in the industry right now.
Thank you. Thank you. So, to wrap things up, let's talk about some advice. So, looking back over your career, what is some advice you would give to your high school self?
Um, I would give myself the advice to be confident in your decision making, and I would tell myself to be a little more coachable. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, focus on what you can control, and try to be the uh, best person you can be. Going into your adult life. Try to be a good
Yes.
person. Try to learn as much as you can so you can progress your way through your career, and your reputation. Make sure you keep your reputation um, clean.
Good. Thank you. Now, that was advice for yourself in high school. Now, do you have any advice for any student as they're thinking about their future careers?
You know, it is a tough thing. Something we all went through. Making that decision on what your career is going to be.
Mhm.
Um, I would tell somebody it's never too late to change their career, but to definitely weigh out your options, and don't be afraid to give something a chance if you think you might find it interesting, or something that you want to do.
Good. Thank you so much. So now, a little fun question for you. So now we talked about the industry. Now, for you, outside of work, what's a hobby or an interest that you enjoy?
Outside of work, so I am an avid hunter.
Okay.
So I enjoy that. It is one of my favorite things to do. I enjoy getting out and playing some golf in the summertime. So those are probably, you know, if I'm not on a golf course in the summer, chances are I'm probably on the lake. That's about that's my extent of the hobbies. But with the newborn at home, some of those things have taken the back burner.
Of course, and congratulations too.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So, thank you so much, Zach, for sharing your story and giving us some insight on the industry today. And thank you to our viewers for joining us for Career Spotlight. Remember, these interviews are a way to explore different paths and discover opportunities available right here in Genesee County. So, for more insight, please visit our website, Educate Flint and Genesee. Thank you again. Until next time.